Hello, my Star Atlas brethren. It is me. We're going to be talking about Star Atlas for the next 10 minutes. I'm going to try and do a very small video this time. I realize my videos just go a long time, and I leave like a week in between them, guys. So I think, it's okay to do maybe like a 10-minute video every 3 or so days so that, it's easier to digest. But anyway, guys, my name's Leon MetaVerse Explorer. I've been a Star Atlas content creator for as long as I can remember, maybe about 6 months after Star Atlas started, and it's been a while. Maybe I'm thinking one of these days I should do a video on just my creator process and how I started to now. But anyway, I'm getting off topic. We're gonna talk about Star Atlas now. So not much has actually happened in the last week with Star Atlas, which is quite unfortunate, being honest. Let me put this down so at least you can hear. Yeah, quite unfortunate. Not much has happened in Star Atlas, but there are rumors coming around that the team will be doing a town hall pretty soon. Now, the big question is, what are they going to announce? Because usually they reserve the town halls for when things start getting really crazy, or they've got something to announce, or an announcement of an announcement, right? But of course, the thing that's closest, I would say, is the crew packs, okay? Or at least putting your ships in to get crew to then transport those crew, because we know that's what they're actively working on now. But what I really want to see is the fleet view in the UE5 showroom, the fleet commander view of the UE5 showroom. Anyway, guys, thanks Siggy for this video. As always, these videos are always on point. I wish I had the time, the effort, the resources to be able to go and do this, but I don't. My computer isn't that great, so maybe I should maybe I should raise funds from Star Atlas to buy a new computer so I can get more. I don't think that's the way to go. No, I don't think so. Anyway, let's get started. Guys, let's talk about Star Atlas. First thing, actually, before we keep going, I want you to go and make sure you do not have an airdrop waiting for you, right? If you're in Star Atlas, you're probably in Solana, which means you probably got some jupe, which means you staked your jupe, which means you may have gotten some of the UpRock token allocation for airdrop. Go and select your wallets. You don't even have to do this. You can do the whole Solana airdrop checker one, and that'll tell you if you have something ready to go or not. So yeah, free money. Go and see if you have it. Now, let's go into Star Atlas. I saw this beautiful image in the Star Atlas Discord server as the photography career. Yeah, what happened to the photography career? It's like it's gone now, right? Nothing. I haven't heard anything from it. The thing is, this is something that happens with the team a lot. They would start something, but because of resources or they had a really great initiative, and then it just falls to the wayside, and it's not great. It's not great. It happens a lot of times. Like, oh, we're gonna do this, gonna do this, and then of course they pivot and pivot. But this is something that doesn't need a lot of dev time. It's just community initiative. So Santi, Dom, just that my small message there is like, we start a lot of stuff like this. That's really good. I thought it was really great, but we're not getting the follow through on it. But anyway, beautiful picture. That's what I wanted to say. Beautiful picture. I sound like Donald Trump. Oh, also, Donald Trump got indicted. No, he was, what do you call it? Guilty on 37 charges of campaign fraud. No, on money laundering. Something. Anyway, let's talk about the most recent updates to Star Atlas. Okay, and I've been waiting for this for so long. You know why? Because I'm not a big whale. I'm not a big person. I can't supply food to the starbase to make sure things keep crafting, right? And now this recent update is what has really helped that. Now the starbases continue to craft, but at a reduced rate. So let's read the announcement from Dom. Just released a new update to Starbase. Crafting will now continue even if a Starbase's food supply drops to 0. A reduction in crafting speed will decrease the higher a Starbase tier is. So basically, there's two things you need to know. All the central space stations, like the ones for each faction, there's 3 of them, they are tier 6. But tier 6s have a 50% reduction in crafting speed when food is at 0%. Okay, so that's the first thing you need to know. That's quite easy. That applies to like 90% of us in CSS. Okay, so your food, if there's no food there, it's just going to be 50% slower. Okay, or should I say, it'll take twice as long to craft whatever you need to craft. But you don't have to supply any food, which is the good thing. Okay. Now, there is more reductions depending on what tier the starbase is, and I think we don't have a tier 3 starbase so far. No one's gotten there yet. We have tier 1 and tier 2s. They're all tier 1 so far. Oh wait, no, I think some of them are tier 0s, then go to tier 1s. I don't know. A tier 1 will have a 80% reduction in crafting speed when there is no food. All of this is when there's no food. So tier 1 is an 80% reduction. the more effort you put into your tiers, the more you go up in tiers, the lesser the reduction in the crafting penalty, right? So if you have a tier 2, you're going to now only have a 72.5% reduction. If you have a tier 3, it's a 65% reduction, all the way to tier 4 and 5, which is like 50% reduction. So a tier 5 and a tier 6 is the same, because the CSSs are all tier 6s, and the other starbases cannot go up to 6. They only go up to 5, because tier 6 is the only ones available for the races themselves, for the mud only. So tier 5 and tier 6 makes sense that they're both the same. Okay, so let's actually go and see what this looks like. What does that mean? What does that actually mean, guys? So let's go to staratlas based labs now. As you can see, this is my little mining fleet automation. Of course, if you're not doing automation, you're wasting too much time. This is something we're going to be chatting about later as well, about the small player data that Victor has actually put out, and you can go and see this. So basically, what does it look like? Let's go to operations and let's see. You can see here there is no food at all in the space station. There is nothing there, but you can still craft some stuff. Okay, I have 3 crafts going at the moment. Now this copper, for 300,000 copper, is going to take me 10 hours. Okay, because there is no food there. If there was even a little bit of food, you will see I will have 5 hours, because it's half. Okay, now let me just go and do that very quickly. So as you can see here, they give you the little red crafting at 50% speed. Resupply your food to enable the ability to craft at normal. Now I'm only going to resupply a very, very small amount. Let's go like 100k. That would be 4 minutes. Okay, let's resupply this, and then let's see. I don't usually supply food because it's actually a really big waste. Not a waste, sorry. It's a big negative to me, right? Because that's only 4 minutes. Like, people need a lot more than 4 minutes. I need 5 hours to make 300 food, for God's sake. Now, that should be supplied. Very good. And as you can see, we have 4 minutes 34 left. Now, let's go and look at these. You see, they've reduced now from 10 hours to 5 hours. That's basically it. Okay, now this is obviously really good for small players, because we don't have to follow people around. We don't have to follow where the crafting is going to be at optimal speed. No, I can just spend more time crafting at the CSS bay, and I'm happy, right? I don't have to pay anything extra. Happy. Some people may not like this as much because it kind of reduces your efficiency, but hey, at least I'm not losing money, right? So that's one thing. That's a really good thing. That's going to come later. Now, what I wanted to see was what the LP, because, you know, I just put in LP there. I just got some LP. Now, let's say I have 3.6 million LP that I want to go and redeem. Obviously, you know, Epoch just started. We got 21 hours in this. If I were to redeem this right now, I'd get 1.3k Atlas. But based on last Epoch and the way it's going, I'm only going to get 452 Atlas. But if I was going to sell this LP worth of valuables on the marketplace, it'd still be like 1,000 Atlas, a lot more. Okay, now that really prompted me to say, oh, I should get updated with what the most recent Epoch rewards are. Right, let's have a look at Mud. This is where we are now. Okay, Oni is 5.3. That's where I am now. Yeah, 5.3. You can see that. Okay, now let's look at last Epoch was 16 billion. Okay, 14, nearly 15 billion, 16 billion, 16 billion, 15 billion. So as you can see, it's all usually at the previous Epoch. Like, it's always calculated at the previous Epoch. That's what people are going up to. Okay, now you can see here, but you can compare the two and see which one of all time, where are people putting their LP more often than not. Okay, now have a look at Oni. It's 800 billion. So 800 billion compared to a Mud, which is 690 billion. So just by looking at the averages, just by itself, you can say on average, typically, like estimatingly, you would get more for your LP in the mud, okay, compared to Oni, because Oni is taking more LP of the pool. Okay, you have less in that pool, right? Or you have less in that pool in Oni, but of course in Mud you have more in that pool. I hope that makes sense. And so for me, I look at this, I'm like, goddamn, I should really move out of Oni just in case I have some LP that I need to redeem. Okay, Oyster 6.96, so not too far off. You can see Mud and Oyster are kind of similar, but Oni, of course, is the highest. And you can see they have usually the highest amount. 16.1, 16.6, 16.4, 15.8, where it has 13, 14, 15, 15, 15, 14, 15, 14, 15, 15. So all the 16s here. So Oni, of course, is the higher LP. Don't know why. Maybe there's a few more whales in Oni. Not sure. You know, there's a giant guild in Oni. Not sure. Okay, you know, Rome. But yeah, let's leave it there. Now, what I actually wanted to chat to you about in this video was the new tab created by Victor, which is exceptional. Exceptional. Okay, guys? Here it is, okay? So in the normal Aphia tab, when you go to the gameplay analytics, which is here, you can see there's lots of other ones, but go to the new one called Small Player Tutorial, okay? And he kind of breaks it all down. He gives you like a value for your fleet and what ROI you are actually earning, okay? Now, people don't realize this, but you are probably losing money if you are a small player, okay? Yes, you may be making some Atlas, but the amount in Solana transaction fees you are paying is actually eating into all of your profits. Because think about it this way, guys. If you are a small player, you can't mine or transport as fast. As long. Like it takes you short amount of times for you to mine. It's only going to be a 5-minute mine or a 10-minute mine. Then you have to pay another Solana transaction fee to do this, to undock, to redock, to refuel. Okay, and because you're a small player, you keep doing that over and over multiple times. Your Solana transaction fees are a lot more. So keep an eye on your Solana transaction, on your Solana balance in your wallet, just to see how much you may be losing. Okay, just keep an eye. So basically, here's some guidelines for you, and I hope this is public. I think this is public because you can just go and click on it and go into there. So sorry, Victor, if this is public, but I thought it was. But here's some guidelines. Okay, 1, find a profitable gameplay loop. Yes, there are many profitable gameplay loops, and I'm going to go through them very slightly here. Not all of them are actually very good, okay? Some have good ROI, but you can't actually realize that ROI, and that's got me thinking. Reduce the number of transactions, which is, of course, as we said, the Solana transaction fees, because if you're a small player, you're paying a lot more in transaction fees. If I can go and mine for something for 2 hours or 3 hours at a time, my transaction fees are a lot lower than you who's mining at 10 minutes at a time, okay? Use automation, definitely. If you're not using automation, you're losing out right now. And of course, you compound your returns. You make a bit of money here, you go and buy another cargo ship, for example, that's going to increase your mining capacity, which means you don't have to pay as much transaction fees. So you see how that works. So that's obviously compounding. That's how it works, right? Now, let's have a look at some scanning. Now, I want to reiterate, I'm not very good with these lots of statistics, okay? Victor is the man here. But we can still glean some stuff away. It's also very hard to have a specific calculation for a specific type of fleet. So basically what they do is they create a fleet or a 20 SDU scanning fleet, okay? And you can go and read some of the notes on this and what all of them mean, okay? But basically, let's have a look at this. Let's have a look at the, if you have a small player scanning with an SDU, a 20 SDU fleet, okay? And the fleet value for this is like, look at this, a fleet value of $250, which is around about 2 cheese, give or take. Now, you go and see here, scanning ROI. See here, ROI is 0, negative. You are in a negative territory. If you're scanning with a $250 value right now, not VWAP, but value right now of cheese, okay? Now, that's for scanning, okay? All of these, if you have a fleet value of sometimes even 900, right? Sometimes that does even give you a negative ROI because Scalo Coast Guards aren't the best for mining, for scanning, sorry. So yeah, it's crazy. It's really, really crazy. People are losing money here. They don't realize it. Now, don't look at this mine ROI because this is for scanning. But let's go and see if you have a 50 SDU fleet for a fleet value of a little bit higher, $600, $500. This is when you start getting some ROI, 54%, 52%, 50%, right? And of course, let's see a fleet value of 523 with Thimble BIOS EOPS, and each price is 104. So let's say give or take 5 Thimble BIOS EOPS, roughly, okay, roughly. Then you'll be getting about a ROI of 54%. Now, of course, there are lots of caveats to this data. And of course, one important thing I realized and I asked Victor was that This data is the ROI is calculated on if you are within 2 warp distances to the middle of the map, which is where more SDUs are found. So not from CSS, okay? So if you calculate it from the CSS, obviously you're spending way more time going to the middle because it's going to be more than 2 warps, especially with an ERP. So of course that's going to cut down on your ROI and your time, your transactions, all of this sort of stuff, your fuel. So you can see there's a lot of complexity and layers on this. So that's for the small scanning fleet of 500. If you go to an SDU scanning fleet of 100, Thimble Bias ERP is still the best with an ROI of 74%, which is really good. You got 10 ERPs in one go, okay? Now, let's go ahead to the mining, actually. Mining is also pretty good. People mining with a small fleet at the hydrogen, at the CSS, not as good as you would think, okay? Because that's what we were thinking before, where they say, oh, if you're not sure what to do, just mine the hydrogen CSS. No, you're actually losing some. Let's have a look at this. So this is a fleet value of, am I in the right one? Here's mining. Okay, here's mining. So let's say you're mining with a fleet value of roughly $200. Okay, this is the budget, $200. For a Thimble Lobby, which is now $29 each, you're going to have 6.79 ships. Okay, give or take. It's all estimates and roughlies. Okay. So let's say you're doing hydrogen, 1 fleet, hardness 1, richness 1. Let's have a look at your actual return. Have a look at your return, and I wish we could scroll to the right, but it won't let me scroll to the right. Go to the right here, okay? Here is your ROI. 7.9 for the Thimble Lobbies. Minus 7.9, so you're actually losing money. And the thing is, everything in this table is losing money if you're just mining hydrogen and selling hydrogen on, okay? You are really losing, okay? If the most that's gonna break you to even is the Thimble Lobby. If you have 5 Calico Max Hogs and you're mining hydrogen at the CSS, you are losing 10%. Okay, you are minus 10% ROI. You only actually start to make money when you're mining if you have a value of $500 roughly. Okay, so have a look at this budget. $500, right? An imp tip is 324, so which means you have about roughly 1.5 imp tips. 1.5 imp tips doesn't exist. I hope you get that. It's just a calculation of the average of the ships, right? So you could have 2 imp tips, okay? But you can still times the ROI. So let's go ahead and look at a 500 for an imp tip, okay? Mining hydrogen with richness 1, hardness 1, fleet 1. Let's go ahead and see the ROI, 30%. That's not bad for an imp tip, okay? 30%, that's actually comparable to putting that, oh no, you couldn't put that in the score anymore. But 30%, and then you go down from there. 24%, 17%. You see, let's see the 24%. Which one was that? Thimble Lobbies. You're going to get 17 Thimble Lobbies in one fleet, and you're mining hydrogen and you're selling hydrogen, you're getting 24%. Whereas 17%, it just keeps going down from there, is 13 Calico Max Hogs, right? Very nuanced. You need to understand this data a bit more before you start making decisions on it. Obviously, I'm not the expert here. I'm just relaying data offhand, you know. And then let's say a mining fleet of 1,000 VWAP. Armstrong imp tips is still the best. Tooth of Feist, number 2. So 11 Tooth of Feist in one fleet, if you can get that, give you an ROI of 45%. So that's not bad. That's not bad at all. I'd wake up out of bed for that. Now, that's mining, okay? So that was scanning, and then that was mining, and then of course there is crafting. All right, this is when you're just not mining, you're just going to buy the stuff on the marketplace, then you're going to go and sell that stuff on the marketplace after you've crafted them. Okay, this is also a small game loop for you, because if you don't have a lot of ships, you don't have a lot of people, you don't have a lot of mining capacity, freighting capacity, cargo, you can't do all of that, but you do have some crew, okay? One single crew from an air bike is about $7, give or take, okay? Now let's have a look. The best ROI right now is Aerogel, 743% ROI, but can you sell it? Aerogel is super illiquid. You will not be able to sell it, okay? Even though the ingredients to craft it is a lot cheaper than the actual value of the crafted item. Okay, so your ROI is 704. Next thing is superconductors, strange emitters, energy substrate, and then 8 is fuel. Fuel is where I play in because the ROI is still really good at 215%, and everyone can do fuel. Okay, you can go and do fuel, I can go and do fuel. There's no freighting required at all, right? You can just go and buy this and craft it and go and sell it. So yeah, and fuels are probably the highest liquid resource that we have. So that's crafting, okay? That's with a budget of $190, okay? Whereas a $480 crafting, it doesn't really change on the people you have for crafting because it's linear. It's how many people is going to cut down your time and how many more you can craft. But it's not really like a ship calculation. Very small, much easier calculation. And you have upgrading star bases. But I'm going to stop here, guys. Like, you can see the data is really damn good. I wish this was public, that a lot of people knew about it. So what are my tips for you? If you're a small player, please make sure you are checking your Solana balance. Otherwise, you may actually be losing money, even if you're just mining hydrogen at the CSS, okay? Not crafting it to fuel, that's another thing. If you're just selling the hydrogen, you're likely losing money. You're also scanning with small ships, you're also likely losing money. Every scan is a Solana transaction, and priority fees will eat up, okay? That's my big takeaway here. Check your Solana balance. And that's it, guys. I'm going to leave it there. I said this was going to be a 10-minute video, but it ended up being 20 minutes, so my God, I apologize for that. But at the same time, it's still really great stuff. Okay, so go and have a look at the small play tutorial. Go and have a look, and that's it. Leave you. Bye, guys.